What's up, YouTube? This is Diamond Bling coming at you right back at to do a video on how to set up a grow room unless you're using a closet. If you have a closet, you're already started. Unless you want to do something a little bigger, I'm going to tell you how to set up your grow room. Basically, you're going to want to get a bunch of 2x3s to set up your mock grow room. Basically, that's then you could make it how big you want to make it. Um, so basically, you're going to lay out the bottom of the grow room, how long, like say 10 by 10 and 8 feet and 10 feet tall. Okay, so you would just cut all your boards at 10 foot and, screw them together and make sure you use bracing so they don't fall over. And you don't need many studs, you could do 16 on center and just put a stud up. And then when you do the roof, you basically just build a square that is the same size as your perimeter and screw it onto your framing. You know, the framing that you go up and build, you screw the roof or screw rafters across. You could do it that way too. Actually, that's the best way. Put up your walls and put a 2x3 on top of your, studs that go up, and then connect your walls together. You could even just connect them for the meantime with like a zip ties, and then when you put your roof on, then make sure everything's squared up and um, put your roof on. Put on some nice screws that ain't gonna split the wood. Probably like 2 3/4, probably 2.5 inch, 2 3/4 inch, maybe 2.5, something like that. But use 2x3s because 2x4s, it's gonna be too much weight and it's gonna be too heavy and everything. But when you do it, also you're gonna want to buy from a grow shop. Like I was telling you about the nutrient stuff. But if you're doing a grow room, you're going to want to buy, it's called white mylar plastic, and tell the guy that you're building a room and he'll get you the right stuff. Okay, on the inside will be white, the outside will be black. You want the white on the inside of your room, and then the black will be on the outside. So basically, to start off, you would just start at one wall, and a good idea to do is to buy duct tape. And when you're first starting, put a piece of duct tape over top of the mylar and on the stud where you want to screw into, and it'll give it extra strength and rigidity so it'll hold it in place. And then you could put your other, staple gun. Then you could put other staples in, and every once in a while put a square piece of duct tape, and it'll enhance the strength of it. And basically go around your outside, and then do your roof. You could do that, do your roof, and make sure that it's light proof. Okay. And also, like I was saying, you're going to need an inline fan. So you're going to cut that opening up at the top in between two of your studs, and you're going to build a brace, to hold the inline fan. Okay, and like I said, build that, and basically what you're going to have to do to find out how big of an inline fan you need is do the length times the width of your room, and that length width I think gives you the square. Yeah, length times the width will give you the square feet. Length, width, and height gives you the square footage of the room, and find out what that is, and then go about looking for one online. Type in inline fans and type in something around the number that you came up with for the square footage, and go from there. Sometimes you always can't be exact, but I have some notes here to write. Let me see here. Okay, like I said, the inline fan should be the same square feet of the room to ensure outstanding ventilation. Also, you need a carbon filter if smell is a worry to you, and if you need one that fits you need one that fits the same size as the inline fan, okay? And basically that will give you the best ventilation. And the way to find out how much is coming out, there's a way that you could find out something. Hold on. Must be on the other page. Anyway, there's a way to find out somehow here. Of you basically take the length, width, and the height of the room, and it gives you the square feet, and then you divide it into the square something, and it tells you how long it'll take to expunge all the air. I know I have the information here. It's just hard to remember everything. So, but anyway, there's some other stuff here for germination. When you're germinating plants, basically you're going to want to get your strains. If they're different, get different cups and get little Dixie cups, like about maybe, I don't know, 8 inches tall. And you're going to want to put lukewarm water in them, not hot water, not cold water, just room temperature water. And you're going to label the outside of the cup, whatever strain it is, in case you have multiple strains, and put the seeds into the cup. When they sink, that means that the embryo, which is the outside of the seed bract, filled up with water, and it will help in the germination process. Once they sink to the bottom of the cup, get them out, okay, and have ready Dixie cups, or solo cups. I mean, 8 inches, the 8-inch ones, and make sure you poke holes in the bottoms, not huge ones, just holes so it can drain, and make sure you have a decent amount of them. Okay, do that beforehand, and while you're waiting for your seeds to sink, make the holes, and once you're done doing that, basically fill it up with a dirt that I told you to get from Home Depot. It's a seed starting dirt, okay? You can buy it at Home Depot. It's very soft material, very great for germinating seeds. So if you can't find it, just ask someone for it. It's called, tell them you need something for seed starting soil, and make sure it comes from indoors, not outdoors. And basically fill the cups up, and then you're going to want to put hot water in them, while you're waiting for your seeds to sink, and let all the water drain out of them, and then by that time it'll still be warm, and you put your seed in once it sinks about a 1/4 inch deep. Make sure you label the outside, what kind of strain it is, and put it in, cover it up, only a 1/4 inch deep. Don't mess with it after that, and put it in the humidity dome. You can get a humidity dome from a grow shop for like 25 bucks, or you could buy two Tupperware rectangular containers, put one on top of the other one without the lids, and basically use tape to hold it together, and that's your humidity dome. But you're going to need to add a little bit of water to the bottom of the dome. Not much, just a little bit, so it covers like the lip around the bottom. And you're also going to need a heating pad and put that on low. Don't put it on anything else but low, okay? And um, once all your plants are planted and ready to go, put them in. You got them in your humidity dome. Spray. You get a spray bottle. Spray a little bit of moisture up on the top so it looks like a forest, like real humid. You real humid. That's what you want. You want 100% humidity. Okay, so for at least the first 4 days, 5, 6 days. For like the first 6, 7 days, that's when they should germinate by. But my process, you should have them popping within 3 to 5 days. But anyway, keep the heating pad on low, and like I said, get a spray bottle. And every time you do spray, make sure that you have it on, like use lukewarm water, not hot, not cold, just regular temperature. And if one of your cups seems to be getting dry, it shouldn't, unless you didn't give it enough water in the beginning. It shouldn't need any water until like day 5. But if you need just a couple sprays just to keep the top wet, to keep the germination process. You don't want it too wet, or it will root. It'll rot the tap root, which is the main root that comes out of the seed. It's called a tap root. It'll rot that, and then your plant's fucked. So it's just a waste. So don't make sure your shit isn't sopping wet, and make sure you put holes in the bottom of your cups so they can drain water out. And make sure you don't, make sure when I said to put a little bit of water in the bottom, make sure you only put a little bit so it's not touching your cups, just enough to keep the humidity in there, not much at all. And basically that's how you germinate a plant. Don't transplant it. The stuff that you should use if you're doing indoor is buy it from a grow shop and get Ocean Forest. It's Fox Farm Ocean Forest mix. It's the best stuff you can buy. It's very great. It has a lot of perlite. It's just real good. Spongy, holds water. Made from derived from back guano and all kinds of other nutrients that's in it. But you use that to transplant your seedlings into. You don't transplant them until they're at least 8, 10 inches tall, probably 10 inches tall. And like I said, when you are waiting for your seeds to pop, you do need to have a light over top of them. So they're trying to, like outdoors, they're trying to come up because there's light. If there's no light, they're not going to pop up. So you need to buy like a cheap compact fluorescent like tube that's like yay long, like long enough for the box, and set it on top of the box, and just so there's light, so they want to pop up. And when one does pop up, you want to take it out like within 12 hours, so it doesn't get like all moist. And then you want to, move it off to the side into your other room, and have a light fan, light breeze on it to strengthen up the stem. Okay, and like I said, then after when they get 10 inches tall, you want to plant them into a big pot because it's easier to work with when you plant something into something large. It's easier to work with. Your plant will like it better. You won't have to transplant it again, and also you'll get a bigger plant, bigger buds, bigger yield. Everything's so much better, so much easier. And if you use the nutrient line that I talked about before, which is Aurora Grow, AUR, I don't know, I'll spell it for you then. Grow. It's made Buddha Grow. It's the same thing. But anyway, if you use that master pack that I'm telling you about, it will yield you some very good tasting chronic, and it'll be very good. So, but once you mix that stuff up, once you mix up your nutrients, it's done by the gallon. So you mix up a gallon jug, and you're gonna need to I guarantee you're gonna need to add either pH up or pH down. Most likely, I've only had to add pH up, but um, like I said, you're gonna have to buy a tester, a pH tester, which is like $4 at the grow shop, and it comes with a bottle that has a little dropper, and you put 3 little droppers into a little vial that it comes with, and you put your nutrient water fill it up 3/4 of the way into that vial, and then you put 3 drops of this green solution into it and shake it, and then on the side of the bottle it shows different colors, and the different colors indicate what your pH level is. You want it to be like the color of my scarf, or a little bit darker. You don't want it yellow, you don't want it orange. You'll see, this is like 6.5, and this color is like probably 7.5. You want it at like 6.8, 7 for soil growing. So make sure you add either pH up or pH down, depending on if it's alkaline, or depends on if it's too high or too low. Make sure you get it on point. Make sure you get it to at least 7, and then water your plants. And don't overwater them. That's the worst thing you can do. I mean, once you by overwatering, I mean don't water them the next day and then the next day. Like, water them real good, and then let them go for a couple days. Put your finger into the pots and put it down like about at least a 1/4 inch to an inch, and if it's still moist, it does not need to be watered. And it's also good to flush them out with water like every 2 times of giving it fertilizer, give it water the 3rd time. And basically that's how you get started. Hanging lights is very easy, because basically all you're going to use is there's a little screw in. They're not eye hooks, but they have a hook on them. You screw them into where, depending on the size of the light that you got and the coverage of your grow room, you're going to need to plan out where the lights need to be located. So if it covers a 6x6 area, you're going to want to come 3 feet off the wall and 3 feet off the other side of the wall. So then it'll give you that 3 feet to the one side, 3 feet to the other side. And you just need to plan it out. Plan before you plant. That's the best thing I could say. Make sure the lights are in the right location, and and put them on a chain so you can easily lower them and higher them. And also, if they start to cock one way or the other, you just attach a string to that side of the chain, and you tie it off to a stud so it'll pull your light to go straight again. And you always want to tie your cords off, and in the grow room you're going to want to have something like this. It's a day-night thermometer. Okay, basically this measures the relative humidity in your room during flowering. You want it from 40 to 60% at the absolute most. But during vegetative stage, you want it at like 70, 80% at the most. And then you want your temperature. Your temperature can vary depending on how well your plants are doing, but your temperature, usually you want to keep it like 75 degrees. But there's a way with these. These are very cheap. You get them for like 15 bucks online, and you can reset them. You hit mode, and then you would hit reset. Hold on, I'll try to get it. You would hit reset then, and then you would hit this button here to go max min. Basically you reset it, and it's a day-night thermometer, so it'll tell you what's going on with your room. Like, that's the minimum temperature it got to one night, 71.9, 50%. So it just basically tells you what goes on when you're not there. And basically you should reset it every time. So like I just did, you should reset it every time, every day, so you know what's going on. And make notes if something's going wrong with your plant so you know how to fix it. And there's nutrient deficiencies that I could tell you about real quickly, and that'll be the beginner's guide for growing indoors. Okay, let me get to the plant deficiencies. Oh, well, here's that thing that I was flabbergasted by before, where I was stunned. Here's the information somewhere in here that will tell you how fast your inline fan takes. And here's how to also put your install your inline fan. You cut a hole. You cut a hole in your mylar in between the screen, in between the studs that you put up. You cut the hole and you build a frame out, but you need to decide whether it's going to be an 8-inch diameter, 10-inch diameter, or 12-inch diameter. And always use insulated ducting and keep it towards the top of the room, okay? Because that's where your hot air comes in at. Alright, but to connect it, all you're going to need basically here is, this is what I wrote anyway. Use an inline fan, which is used to blow all of the hot, old air from the inside of your grow room to outdoors, which you will need an insulated ducting with pipe clamp, pipe clamp, or whatever the hell they are, them fucking, I don't think it's a pipe clamp, yeah, maybe it is, whatever, those little clamps that you use and you tighten with a screwdriver. You get one of those, and you connect that around, you use your inline fan, and you put the ducting over top of the inline fan, and you put your pipe clamp around it, and you tighten it up real tight so no air goes past it, and basically then you use duct tape around it so no light goes around that hole that you cut. But you're also going to want to put on a carbon filter. Your carbon inline fans have a CFM, like I was saying, that's how many cubic feet per minute. It's the size which is or should be the same or bigger than the square feet of the grow room. Like I said, the CFM rating should be the same size as your grow room or bigger. CFM is cubic feet per minute, which I said, and the amount of air the inline fan can remove out per minute times the length, width, and height of grow room will tell you how big of an inline fan needed. Here's where it gets to where I got all fucked up. To find out how long it will take to vent all of the air in the grow room through the inline fan and ducting and your carbon filter, which is going to need to be the same size as your inline fan, like the same size diameter, and the same size diameter, like 8, 10, or 12 inches, to outside. Simply divide the square feet of your grow room with the inline fan's CFM, cubic feet per minute, and it will calculate how many minutes it takes to extract all air out of the grow room. Your carbon filter needs to be the same CFM or less than inline fan. Carbon filter neutralizes smell of fresh cannabis. And that's all. The plant deficiencies. Okay, this is what you're going to want to know. Plant deficiencies. Magnesium means you'll have purple stems. Magnesium absorbs the light. Without, plant will stunt. Calcium. Basically, calcium, the outer leaves get brown, and veins, I can't even read, veins get dark, okay? Nitrogen deficiency. Cannabis uses nitrogen more than any other nutrient. Nitrogen helps create chlorophyll, which chlorophyll is what's in the leaves, which is needed to produce buds. So don't rip leaves off that aren't bad, okay? Which is used in photosynthesis for the production of plant energy. Without enough nitrogen, leaves turn pale yellow-green, starting at bottom. Lack of nitrogen will also stunt plant growth. Okay, phosphorus. That's usually going to be during your flowering when you're looking at that, but also during veg a little bit. Phosphorus. Cannabis uses phosphorus during photosynthesis to create chemical compounds essential to plant growth, especially during flowering. Lack of phosphorus causes plant veins to turn red and stunt plant growth. Lack of potassium. Potassium assists metabolism, fights off disease. Lack of potassium can make plant vulnerable to diseases such as mold, fungi, and wilt. Potassium also assists in seed and stem development. Lack of potassium, stems and branches become weak and break. Patches develop on half tips at base of plant. Blotching patterns at middle of these leaves, sometimes red stems, but cold temperatures can also cause this, so be careful. Calcium deficiencies. Calcium, basically plant cells use and store calcium for cell development. Calcium problems are rare. Sulfur assists plants' chemical photosynthesis and metabolism. Without sulfur, new plant growth is yellow and pale looking. The rest of the plant will eventually turn yellow from lack of sulfur. Magnesium. These are all your micronutrients. Okay? And if you get the master pack, you won't. That'll cover all this. Magnesium used to create chlorophyll, used to make leaves green and absorbs light for photosynthesis. Lack of magnesium causes yellowing and leaves. And they also curl, and the plant's leaves curl upwards. So that tells the difference between nitrogen and magnesium. With nitrogen, it'll just be pale and yellow. With magnesium, your leaves will actually curl up and be brittle, and also be yellow. And there's only a couple more here. Understanding pH. pH ranges from 0 to 14. 0 is acidic and 14 is totally alkaline. Marijuana in soil loves the pH at 6.8, 6.5 to 7. Hydro pH should be at 6.2 to 6.4 in organic nutrient solution. Otherwise, it should be at 5.5 to 5.8. I'll go into hydroponic next time. That goes into intermediate slash expert when you start getting into the EC and the TDS and the ppm and all that. It starts to get confusing. So that's my second video that I made up, and I'm going to try to see if I can elaborate any more for outdoor growing for beginners. Alright, this is Diamond Bling signing off. I hope you got some use out of this, because it does take time.